Life seems to have a way of zeroing in on areas where you're allocating mental or physical energy and sending a suspiciously ill-timed care package of chaos to your door. It feels like almost every time I've embarked on a new wellness plan or ambitious project, just as I'm gaining some momentum, I'm inevitably smacked with an injury or illness or other setback that derails the plan. Often I'm left feeling somehow further behind than I was at the outset, as if all the effort and planning was not only erased, but completely negated. Perhaps it's the universe's way of keeping us sentient beings from steering reality too far from entropy. It's fitting that the morning after the very first ride of 2023, the ride I'm preparing for in these clips, I woke up fully sick with the flu. I had some of the worst fever, fatigue, cough, and general aching maladies I've had in many years. And while recovering from that, I started to doubt whether this YouTube cycling music video essay project was even worth doing. I didn't want to quit before I had even truly started, but at the same time I felt like not having finished my first video meant that almost no one would know that I had the idea in the first place. It was so disheartening to think that I could even feel so hopeless and burnt out on a year-long goal just 2 weeks into it. Motivation comes from odd places sometimes. There's an incredibly famous slogan from a well-known apparel company that says, "Just do it." For most of my life, I never considered this phrase to be particularly motivational or inspiring. At face value, it's a barbaric, uncompromising sentiment embodied in an impractical and unrealistic magical spell that turns dreams into reality as if nothing could ever stop you. Things surely just aren't that simple. But as I grew older and faced the many faceted slaps in the face that life so indifferently deals out, I have come to think of this phrase as the ultimate anti-excuse. Just do it. Of course, there are varying degrees of excuses from physical to mental to circumstantial, and I wouldn't replace the advice of medical professionals with a corporate slogan or some sophomoric philosophical pondering from a YouTube video. But when I think about my personal greatest obstacles in terms of sheer amount of potential time lost, they aren't the severe sprains or debilitating spasms or genuine moments of crisis. Instead, they tend to be relatively minor things that would have been easy to overcome if I wanted to. I failed to capitalize on opportunities large and small for reasons that would have seemed somewhat silly to anyone who had pressed even slightly, if anyone had. I've given in to friction that could have been trivially overcome in minutes and spared years of ineffectual strife. Just do it. But what about when you feel like you don't want to overcome something, even if it's only a minor inconvenience? Some days you just may not feel like you have it in you, and inertia takes over. In this mindset, anything less than being carried to the starting point and pushed into action feels like too much of a hassle. And often the reality is that no one cares whether or not you do the thing, certainly not enough to take it upon themselves to push or carry you into it day after day for months and years. And if you're like me, you're surrounded by people who, while well-meaning, are more than happy to help you justify your inaction and validate you unconditionally, because it's normal to have intangible dreams and faraway plans and never aim to do anything beyond the most basic level of social and economic participation. It's your life to live, and only you can make meaningful changes and put forth the effort to pursue something more. So, just do it. I find that often the key to achieving a goal is simply a matter of taking the next step, whatever that may be, even if it's the first step, even if there are thousands of steps that come after this one. I find that to be especially true in cycling, where the fundamental movement is the same for a ride of 10 feet as it is for 1,000 miles. Just pedal and repeat. I've never found my personal limit in cycling. I've perhaps felt like I was close to some limit at various points, but I've never actually had a ride end because I couldn't push the next pedal stroke down. I have had countless rides that didn't begin because I decided I couldn't or wouldn't push the first pedal stroke down. I've similarly had countless goals and ambitions fade from view because I simply did not do whatever thing was necessary in pursuit of that ambition. I've gotten better at leaning into cycling enough to overcome most of the friction that stops a ride before it begins. Things like having a set schedule and a specific criteria for the acceptable conditions under which a ride can take place are helpful in automating part of the decision-making process. If it's above this temperature by this time of this day and the roads are more than X% dry, ride on. And do so in whatever capacity you're able, so long as a ride happens. But I'm far from faultless in this, and I still face difficulty integrating lessons and am forced to repeatedly learn the same ones. In the end, our successes and failures will be viewed in aggregate of the thousands upon thousands of small decisions and commitments that led to a broader outcome. Something either happened, and we reflect upon it as part of our story, for better or worse, or it didn't happen, and we're left to wonder and regret about what might have been had we tried. So this is me doing the fundamental movement. It is done.